you are going to be, that was easy, you are going to be doing the makeup on your partner. So you're only going to have 35 minutes, which means you definitely need to get together and practice. I know it's a quick turnaround between today and Thursday, if you haven't practiced and haven't had a chance and don't get a chance to finish on Thursday, it's not going to hurt you that much. But definitely do set up some time with your partner so that you can get this down to a quick science. You'll have 35 minutes per person.
Can you take between those of us in Midsummers?
Yeah, because we're together every night, but we're not gonna have time to like practice period until Sunday. Like that's the only truth.
Well, the test is a week from today, so. No,
I'm
I can't give, classes have to come first. You'll have graded practice on Thursday. Do your best. If you don't have a chance to work with your partner, do it on yourself to get practice doing the skills. That will definitely help. So you'll have only half the class. Pay particular attention to the techniques I give you today about how not to poke your friend in the eye, right? Because that stuff will be really important since you'll be doing makeup on somebody else. The first requirement, injury, illness. The first requirement is narrative. You don't need to turn in 2 written narratives. You can work together on this, or you can work on your own, either way. But as we put in these injuries, we're going to think about the direction that I punch Brian in the face from, the force, if I'm wearing my wedding ring and punch him with my left hand. If he's taller than me, we're going to be talking about the specific how and why of how each injury happens. So something I want you to do to get you thinking about that is to come up with the story of how you and your partner beat the crap out of each other, or were victims of some terrible crime together. So I want you will write out how each injury happened and the order they happen in the fight. Some people will go kind of hog wild, like, she stole my boyfriend, and all that stuff. That's great. Getting a story that you're excited about will help you think of next steps. Last semester we had a pair of women who got in a cat fight at a high-end mall, and so it was also like makeup, it was cried down and smeared, it was pretty awesome. So have fun with it. So you will turn in at least one narrative, both partners' names on it is fine. But I will ask you about that narrative on Thursday. So think about the story, not only the generalities of why we hate each other and how this got started, but also I'm taller, so I punch down, and she's shorter, so she smacks up, kind of thing. So thinking about the how of these injuries happen.
Have you ever like green eyeshadow? Like what if like you're punching someone's face against the grass and they get like grass stain on them?
Absolutely. I have a big thing of stage dirt. You're welcome. Dirt should be a part of this world. Tears, smears.
So the written narratives due next week, not this Thursday?
That's due with the exam. But I will talk to you about it on Thursday. All right. Also think about how old these wounds are. I'm going to talk you through both sort of new and old wounds today. And you'll do this makeup, as I said, on your partner. Wherever there are not injuries, you're going to fill in with some basic corrective techniques. We don't want any areas of the skin that are totally bare. But of course, we probably won't be filling in with sort of lovely, healthy blush if you've been severely injured and lost a lot of blood. All right. First thing to show you will look a lot like basic corrective, except we're going to play with shade. Dana, which one is your foundation?
It should be the dark.
Sky. Great. Broken noses are have a demo in your textbook. Someone talk us through how to do a broken nose. What do we do?
You like darken like around where the sockets are over here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to shade more on one side. Like I showed him shade, like I'm thinking the picture on his right side it was a lot more dark, so it looks like it's crooked there, like it's pushed towards that side, like the shadow is kind of on top of that crease.
Great. Yes, absolutely. So first I'm going to fill in with foundation. Of course, be sure to get under and around the nostrils. Makes you look even more raggedy. Great for my purposes. Alright, so I start with foundation just as I would. A note about foundation. If yours has a lot of pink in it or is very warm and rosy, you might want to play with taking something a little paler, maybe playing with some of the purple, adding a little like discoloration to your foundation just to give you a more sickly look. That's mentioned in the textbook as well. So now I'm going to come in with shadow, and the technique is pat-a-path, just as I would do in basic corrective to shadow in Tanner's nose, except I'm going to, instead of coming straight down, you know, in two triangles, right, down the sides of his nose, I'm going to curve his nose to show that the cartilage has been displaced, that the nose is broken. So, looking at the natural shape of his nose, I'm going to let that help suggest to me what direction I want to go in. He has a slight sort of prominent bump here. I'm going to make that look very prominent. So instead of coming straight down, I'm essentially going to come into the socket and then come around. You want to still bring the color all the way to the edges of the nose. So you might have some narrow areas and you might have some really thick areas. And you want to make sure that, sorry, is that ticklish?
Yeah.
That side you're doing straight.
A little bit. Now, you might be tempted to keep it parallel, like, oh, instead of going straight, I'm going like this. Except what happens when you break a nose is it breaks and then it swells. So I've curved out a lot on one side and sort of come in, but then curved a little on the other. Does that make sense? Close, please. Now, your book has, in the broken nose, also done modeling with wax on the nose. I'm going to do that just somewhere else so you can see the experience of that elsewhere. But you're more than welcome to also give a little cut, a little abrasion on the nose. I'll show you how to do that modeling with wax. But that would be a good, like, oh, if he got hit, someone was wearing a ring or something, scraped him a little bit. I'm going to bring that all the way up into, stay close, into the socket. See that? So from back where Aaron's sitting, probably looks like he has a very crooked nose. Oh, we can even go further. Great. Now I'm going to go in with highlights. I'm going to concentrate a little more highlight than I ordinarily would right in the center of the area that I have made swollen. So I'm going to start there. So again, strongest highlight right in the center there. If I had, maybe I would do something glossy. I could even hit it with Vaseline or with clear lip gloss. Chapstick is probably, it's waxy, it's sort of not shiny enough. What we want is a little bit of shine just to create the illusion of stretched skin. Chapstick isn't quite shiny enough to do that. Now, as I said, this would be a great area to do, to build up with wax, cut into a little bit. I'm actually going to show you that on his eyebrow. So without any kind of bruising or discoloration, this would be an old broken nose that was never set. So sort of left to be broken and grow all gnarly on its own. My grandmother had a broken nose. She played basketball as a girl, and it never was set properly. And so for her whole life, she had a really pronounced kind of crook in it. So with no other discoloration, this would be an old injury. Now, if you get a broken nose, or if you get punched in the nose, what else is probably going to happen to you?
Bruising.
Bruising, absolutely.
Black eye.
Yeah, specifically a black eye. This is a super tender area. Any kind of trauma to the eye, to the cheek, to the nose is going to cause blood to rush to that eye area and swell. So what I'm going to do is, next I'm going to sort of near that abrasion, I'm going to create a black eye for him. First, let's age up that nose a little bit. Alright, so if his nose was broken sending it this way, that means I probably came up from behind him and punched him from above and from this side. So what's going to happen is I'm going to catch him in the nose. I am going to then head across the nose. And if I hit him hard enough, I'm probably going to scrape him a little bit across the nose. So all I'm doing is taking my stipple sponge, I'm putting it into the, not the bright red, kind of the maroon between the two purples, the redder one. Just taking my stipple sponge in there and just touching and dragging. I'll go back in and put a little blood in later. What else? All right. Next we're going to, and this is in your textbook as well, we're going to build up an area with nose and scar wax. First thing you want to do, make sure your hands are clean. Make sure the skin is clean. If you were to come in here with any kind of makeup on, like tinted moisturizer or anything, you want to make sure that you took that off. You want to start with really clean, dry skin. Likewise, if you have oily skin, you'll want to make sure that maybe you treat it with a little like toner or something. Take any oil or moisture on the skin, take that off. I think Brian should be fine. You should know about this stuff, that it's pretty finicky. It would be better in a more expensive kit, but your kits were expensive enough, so that's where so this is the compromise we make, is wax that will make you crazy. Wax works best for sort of building up, making bulbous, making swollen, any areas that you want sort of to be raised. So it's great for like really severe black eyes, and you can slice into it and paint into it to make it look like bullet holes, cuts, which is what we're going to do today. You want to put wax on places that don't move a lot when you're talking, when you're acting. So I really want to avoid where? Yeah?
Around the mouth.
Great.
Around the eyes.
Yeah, certainly around the eyes here, around the cheeks move a lot. If you hit above the brow, you're okay, which is what we're going to do today. Bridge of the nose is fine. Center of chin, if you keep it small, should be fine. Anywhere else is going to peel away and stuff. Some of you will find that you can just apply a thin layer of wax